Hi friends, this is Manish Pandey. Welcome to UiPath RPA, and today we are going to learn about UiPath config file. So this tutorial will help you to understand what is config file and what is the use of config file, how to write the config file and which type of extension is that config file, and how to read config file and how to get rid of hard-coded value in your project. So you can see here in the screenshots. So this is the screenshot of config file. Now I am going to tell you what is config file and what is the use of config file, and then I will show you one example without config file and with config file. So let me show you with the starting here config file. So config file stands for configuration file. So you will have heard from someone that this is config file, but you know what is the full form of that? The full form of that config file is configuration file, a file that contains configuration information like username, password, path, email IDs, web URL, comments, etc. So there are lots of information we can store there in that file, that is called config file. It means we are going to use one application. In that application we are going to use lots of value, lots of hard-coded value in that application, so we can use that value in config file. It is used by various applications in project. It is written in Excel file, easy to read and write. It becomes reusable. So whenever we use the config file, we can use that data available in config file anywhere in the project. So that's why we always use, or we prefer to use, config file. You can see here this is the config file. It has name, value and description, or you can say the comments. So in the name section we write the variable name, and in the value we pass the value of that variable, and here in the description we write the description of that variable. Like this is the URL, so we write that this is the URL of Google, or this is the URL of any application. Or if you are writing the password, then in the description or in the comments column we can write that here this is the password of this application. Now UiPath opens and reads config file at start time. Whenever we use config file, then at the first time when we run our project, then at the starting tab and at initial step it reads the config file. So configuration information may be changed while the application runs and take effects either immediately or upon a restart when the configuration file is reread. So it means we can change the information in the configuration file while the application runs, and then again it will be updated into the configuration file, and when it will read, then we can use that configuration information as well. Applications access location to load or save important information. The application uses the preferred paths denoted in the configuration file. For example, a path can describe the drive and folder to a configuration file. Config files should be stored on a shared location so that UiPath can access it easily, or any application can access it easily. So always make sure that if you are going to use config file, then always keep that file on a shared location or on a location where UiPath project has access. Otherwise UiPath project or UiPath Studio cannot access that one, so you will get error. Now we'll see config file example. We'll see first without config file, and then we'll see with config file. So first I will show you how to create the config file and what is config file. So let me show you the config file here. So this is one Excel, that can be XLSX or that can be XLS, based on whatever the version of MS Office you are using. So you can create that, and there is no need to change the name of that is config file. This is not required that you have to write the config name of that Excel file. You can write anything. You can write the configuration, you can write the settings, you can write anything there. Here you can see we have taken 3 sheets. First is for Gmail, second for SAP, third for assets. So this is not only for Gmail, SAP or assets. You can create as many as seat here, as many as tab here. If you want to, if you are using application of any other application, if you are going to use any web page, then you can create another tab here and you can write the value there, or you can just create only one sheet and you can put the name of master or anything, and in that master sheet you can write all the information of that project in one sheet. There is no need to create more than one sheet here. But better if you'll create sheet based on the application, so that will, that will be easy to understand that this sheet for Gmail, this sheet for SAP, this sheet for this ERP, or this sheet for, let's suppose I have taken here Gmail, and here I have taken in first column name, second value, and third description. Name, it means whatever name we are going to pass, or what is the name of that thing, like that is URL, or this is email ID, and this is for password, or this is for to email ID, or this is for from email ID. This could be subject message, this could be body message, or it could be like PDF file path or folder path, config path, or anything. This is not like you can put here the counter equal to 1, like counter number 1, row number 1, anything. If you think that can be used globally in your project, you can write here, or you can use just one variable everywhere in your project. So based on that, you can think about that. You can, if you are thinking that this is going to hard code it, then you can use that variable. You can write here in the config file. Let's suppose you are going to send a mail to someone and you need the template, so you can write here template. So instead of writing template like the body message every time in the mail, you can take one variable here. You can write as a name here template, and in the value you can write here, hi, this is UiPath RPA, please see attached documents, right? So if you are thinking that every time this template will be fixed, there is no need to change that. So why will you go to the project and write this every time? So you can write this here in the in config file, and you can use this template variable in your project. So what will happen whenever if business going to change that, no, this time I am not going to write here this is UiPath RPA, please see it as, this time I am going to write here hi, this is UiPath, or hi, this is RPA, something. So what will happen? So this time you have to go through each XML file, each project, like each XML file in the project, and you have to change everywhere where you have used the template. This is hi, this is UiPath RPA, please see attached documents. So what will happen? This will be very critical, and this is very tough to open each workflow and find that activity and change there, right? So to overcome this issue, the UiPath uses this config file. So we can store this here in this variable, and we can use only this variable everywhere. And whenever business is asking that we need to change this email body message, then we just need to remove those things. Please see. Let's suppose business is saying that we need to just change and write here, hi, this is UiPath RPA, please see below. So we can just change here. No need to change in the project. No need to open each workflow and change there. We just change here in one file, in that config file, and then we can use this. So we have already used this template file in our project, so there is no need to change in the project. You just will start running. So whatever will be updating here, so you that project will be used this. Let's suppose you are using a username or email ID or password in your project, and after some time your password is expired, then what will happen? So again you will have to open your project and you have to find that activity where you have used the email ID and password, and you have to open and change that password again. So let's suppose every 45 days you are changing the password, or this is expired. So every 45 days you have to open the UiPath Studio, that project, and you have to open the workflow and find the activity and change the password. So this is very tough for the developer, and this is not good for the business also. So that's why we can use this password, we can keep this password in one configuration file, and we can just use this password variable in our project. So whenever a business is going to change the password, so the business or like user can write the updated password in this value, and this will be used, this variable, in the project. So there is no need to change in the project. So this is the main important use of the config file. And here this is nothing. If you want to take this column, then you can, otherwise you can take out this also, but this is the better if you use this. So it shows that password, here showing password, but the third party or other person or user cannot understand this password is for what. So if you write here the description that this is the password of Gmail of this email ID, right? Or sometimes this is showing that PDF path. So you can write here this is the PDF path of this, you are going to use this. So this is the description, so that will make easy to understand. So same as this, you can change, you can create as many as sheets, and you can write here lots of things like maximum retry number, that is true, timeout short 5000 millisecond, timeout medium 30,000, timeout long 12, 1,20,000 something, delay short, delay long. You can write here the numeric value also, you can write here the string value also, you can put here the date also, everything. So this is the same as we get the data from the asset in Orchestrator, and if we are not using Orchestrator and if we have not set up yet Orchestrator in our project, then we can use this configuration file to get the data from Excel file. So let me show you. And now I think you got that how to create. You just have to open one Excel file as a new file, and you can keep here the application name, or you can write here master, and then just you have to write here one name, and then in second column value, and third column comments or description, and here you can write whatever you want to use here. Now let me show you the first example. Here you can see I have already created one project here, and and this is for, it will read the PDF path, it will read the PDF path location, it will read the file, and then it will open one by one PDF files, and it will close the PDF files. And then here we are using open browser to open the YouTube URL, or you can use anything. This is a short example. I'm just going to tell you what is the use of and how can you use that config file. And in the next video I will show you how to use that config file in the dictionary, right? Now here you can see I'm just going to tell you one thing. Here we are passing the full path, like F drive, UiPath practice, config file, PDF file. This is the full path. And so what will happen if you change the path? Let's suppose this is for your project only, and you are going to send this project to business operations team, and they are going to use, and they have the different PDF file location. So what will happen? So again you will change this? No. So that's why we can use the config file, and we can put that PDF path of PDF file path there, and we can just use the variable here. So this is without using config file. So I'm going to just run this, and now you can see here. So this is opening the PDF file one by one, and then closing this PDF files. Now it is opening the YouTube, that's my channel UiPath RPA, and then it will close this, right? So this is the project, this is the normal project. But here, what is the disadvantage I am going to show you? Let's suppose this is the path, PDF file path. I am going to remove that path. Let's suppose I am going to change the name, or business has changed the location of that PDF files. Then what will happen? Then it will throw the error, right? Now it's showing they could not find a part of path UI path practice config file PDF file. Got it? So if we will use this PDF file location in our config file, and if we'll just use that variable here in the, instead of writing full path, we can just use the variable, right? Same as this, here we are using the variable. So better if we use the variable. Now here you can see in the open browser we are passing the full path, full browser, that is www.youtube.com/UiPathRP. This is my channel. But let's suppose you are using a web URL of any application or any company, and you are using that for automating anything. Let's suppose after 2-3 months they have changed the URL of that, because this is not on global, this is not on internet, this is on intranet. If you work in any company, so they, for the internal use, they create the website and then they host that website on intranet, not the internet. It's not globally, so that URL can be accessed only inside the office, right? So if they are changing, after some time they are changing the host, if they are changing the port number, so if they are changing the URL, then what will happen? So again you will have to open the project, open the XML file, and you will have to change the URL also. So that's why this is the disadvantage, and the advantage is you can keep this URL in the here, like I have taken one URL, and you can keep this here, you can paste this here, and you can just use this URL here. So there is no need to change in the project, you just have to change in the config file, right? So now I am going to tell you how to read the config file and how to use this in the whole project without using hard-coded data. So how to get rid of hard-coded value, hard-coded data in your project. So let me take one new flowchart that is called config. As I already told you here, that UiPath opens and reads config file at a start time. So what we'll do, we will first initialize the value, initialize the config file. So first for that we'll take one sequence and we'll drag and drop here, and then here we'll just change the name of that init the value or initialize the value, and here we are just going to assign the config file. So only we need to change the config file location. If the business is going to change the config location every time, then we'll have to open this project, the config file, and then we'll have to go to the init and change the config location. But mostly it doesn't happen. Business or user doesn't change the config file. If they are using the project, they keep that config file on any shared location, on any fixed location, so that this can be not changed every time, right? So here we'll take a variable that is config path, and now we are just going to take the config file path location. We'll copy this and we'll just paste here. So what will happen, our project will use this config file whenever the project will start. So this is the first, we have read the data, and now we are going to just read the data of this Gmail sheet. Or let's suppose this is master. It means in this master we have all this information. So what we'll do, we will take one assign activity and we'll just write here, this is for sheet name, Control K, and then config sheet name. So we'll just store the sheet name of the config file, that is called master. Now we have initialized the value, we have stored this path, this config file, into one variable, and this sheet name into the config sheet name. And now here we are going to read the config file data. We are going to read the config file data, so we'll take one sequence here and read config data. So if you want to read the config file data, so you will have to think about, this is Excel file. So if you need to read the data from the Excel file, then we'll have to take one Excel scope, Excel application scope here. So we'll drag and drop here, and now you can see here in workbook path text must be quoted. So instead of clicking here and selecting the config file, we will just pass the config file. Let me change the scope here, because we have taken the variable, we have stored this config file location into the config path. Now let me change the scope of init to config, it means starting, and now we are going to change this one also to config. So this will be accessible in whole activities. Now we are going to just, instead of writing full path, we will just pass here the variable. It means it will not be dependent on the path. If user is going to change the path, then no issue, no need to change from here, it will automatically take the value from the init path. So only we need to change the location in init activity, that init sequence. So here we have passed the path of config file, and now we are going to take one read range. So we'll take this read range, and now here we are getting sheet 1. It means in double quotation we are getting sheet 1. So now you have seen here in the init section, here we have assigned the sheet name master into config sheet name. So we can use that. We can use that variable here, that is config sheet name. So here also there is no need to write the hard coded data, that is double quotation sheet 1. So we just use here the variable name. So this time we are just going to read this sheet value. If you want to use the second, this SAP also, then also you can do that. You can take another read range activity and you can use the another sheet name. You can initialize that in the init. So now here you can see read the data. Now we are going to move this data into the data table, store this in data table. So Control K, and now we are going to write here, it is config dt. So this is our config data table. You can keep anything, but the better if you will write the related name, that is config dt. It means this is the configuration data table. So now we have the data into the data table. Now we need to read the data from the master, and we need the value like of URL Google, email ID this. So first time we need the PDF file path, that is, let me change the PDF files location. First I am going to copy this and I am going to change this here. So whenever if user is going to change the PDF file path, user can paste the updated folder here in this value against the name. So now we have the PDF file path. So what we'll do, we will just take one assign activity here, and then we can take here PDF file path. This is our variable, and now here we need to take the data from the data table. It means we need to take the data from the config file, because we need to get this data, this config file, this PDF file location. So we have already read the data into the from the Excel to and stored to the data table, right? So we need to get the data from the data table. So what we'll do, we will write here config dt. So now here showing that it is not accessible for this activity, so we'll change the do to config, and here also we'll change the read config to config. Now we can write here the config dt. It means this is data table dot select. I think you have gone through my video of select data table. If you have not watched that video, please watch that video. So config dt dot select. Now here in double quotation we will write, we need to get the data of the name column. So we'll write here, let me open this in expanded mode, and here we'll write in double quotation name equal to, in the single quotation we need to find the PDF file path value. We need to find the PDF file path value. So first we'll write here config dt dot select name equal to PDF file path. It means name equal to this, and then we need first data from the first column. 0, it means 0 means first, and 1 for second. So we need the data from the second column. And now here we'll write dot toString. So what will happen, we will select the data from the config data table, and it will look for the PDF file path name, where the name equal to PDF file path, and it will get the data of second column. Now okay, and here we can change the PDF file path plus generic value to string value. Let me search the string. So now we have the PDF file path here, and as per this older without config file, we are using this path also. So what we are going to do, because we need to use this one also, so I am going to paste this here in the instead of Google, and here I am going to write here YouTube URL, or you can just paste the URL, so that will also work, because here we have the description open YouTube URL. So now instead of writing this, we will again take one assign activity here, and we are going to read the Control K, and this is for YouTube URL, and we are going to write the same thing, that is for config, copy paste here, and we just need to change this name, because now we have the name of that is URL. So if name is equal to URL, so 0 1, so it will fetch the data from the second column, and now it will store the URL of YouTube into this YouTube underscore URL variable. So we'll change the string. So now we have the data into the variable, that is PDF file path, and the second is URL. So I think we just have to use this, because we have the URL hard coded in the previous XML, and now we have the PDF path. So we have the data now. Now we just need to, here you can do one thing, you can check for the config file, you can take a path exist, you can check that if that is available, then you can go forward. If that is not available, then you can take a send, or you can take a log message, you can take a message box, or you can take a write line, you can do anything. So here I'm just going to take one sequence to start opening the PDF files and closing that, and then we'll open the URL same as this. So here we are taking the value from file path, we are opening one by one file and then closing this, and then here we are opening the browser. So same as that I am going to do with the help of config file. So this is for the process. Now I am going to take one assign activity. So this is for, now you can see here in the, we have used the directory.get files, and we have here we have written the hard coded file location, but now here we are going to change. I am going to write here PDF files, and now I am going to write here directory dot get files, and now instead of writing the full path, I am just going to write here this one, this variable, because we have the file, not this, we have the file here in the read config data, that is PDF file path, right? Because we have the file path here. So we'll take here PDF file path, and now okay. So here we are getting for the system.string type. So PDF files should be system.string in array PDF files, this is. So we'll just select this system.string, that is array. If you are not getting that, then you can go to the array of t, and then you can change from integer to string, and then you can take this. So now we have the files, the collection of files into the array of files into the PDF files. Now we'll take one for each activity to loop through each files. So we'll change the for each file in PDF files. Now we have the data into the PDF files, and we'll loop through each file, and then we'll take one start process to open the PDF files, and here just will pass the file. So what will happen, it will open the PDF files one by one. So here we are getting this warning message. So we just go to the for each, change the type argument from object to string. So now it is removed. It means there was the issue of just conversion from object to string. Now it will open the PDF files one by one. So here also we have used the file. It means this is a variable, this is coming from this collection. Now we'll take one delay activity. So this will, after opening this PDF file, it will wait for this specific time, and then we'll close this PDF files. So we'll take one close application. So for that we'll have to open this PDF file for the first time, and then we'll have to click indicate on screen, and we can close this. And then we'll go to the selector, and we can change that the title, we can take a asterisk, that is starred, and then press OK. So every time when file will be open here, it will closed. And then our next step, as per without config project, we have to open the browser, and here we are using the hard coded data, and now we have the config file. So we'll not use hard coded, we'll take one open browser, and we'll just write here the URL, that is YouTube. Let me change the location of that scope. YouTube URL, and the scope will be the config, so that it will be accessible anywhere in the project. Now we have, let me change YouTube URL. So what will happen, it will open this URL every time, and then we will take this. Here we can take kill process at the end, or we can take close application. So here I'm just going to close, CHROMA. Change the browser type from IE to Chrome, and now let's run this. So it is opening one by one PDF file, and then closing also, and then it will open the YouTube and then close that. So here we are not able to see that because we have to use here the delay, and we will take delay of and let's run this again. Now it has opened this YouTube UiPath RP and closed that, right? So it worked. So by this way we can store the data into the config file, and just with the use of this Excel application scope read range and this config dt.select method, we can use this and we can read the data from the config file, and we can store that data into the that variable, and we can make it accessible anywhere without changing every time in the projects. So let's suppose if you want to change the URL, and that is google.com. So what will happen? So it will next time it will read the data from the URL, and it will open the google.com instead of YouTube, right? And let's suppose you are changing the PDF files here. Now we are changing the name of the PDF files, and that is PDF file only. So you just have to change this into the config file, and then you can close this config file, and let me run this again. So again it will read the config file after changing this, and it is opening the PDF files one by one. And then this time it is opening the Google instead of YouTube, because we have changed the value of URL from YouTube to Google in config file. So here now you have seen we are not using hard coded value anywhere in our project, only because we have used the config file here. That's why we are not using anywhere the hard coded value. We are just using variable, and we are just using, so there is no need to change anything anywhere in your projects. You can just complete this, you can deploy this on orchestrator, or you can send it to business operations anywhere. Today we are going to learn about UiPath dictionary. So here in this tutorial we are going to learn about what is dictionary, how to create the dictionary, and what is iDictionary. So we'll also learn about the what is iDictionary, how to add items to dictionary, how to clear the dictionary, how to get the value from the dictionary, how to check for an existing key in a dictionary, how to remove elements from the dictionary, and how to check for an existing value in dictionary, and how to loop through a dictionary in UiPath, and at the last we'll see what are the points that needs to be remembered. Left side you can see here these are the activity of dictionary, that is add to dictionary, clear dictionary, get from dictionary, key exist in dictionary, remove from dictionary, and value exist in dictionary. So we'll see one by one. I'm going to cover most of the things here in this video. So let's start this. What is dictionary? Dictionary is same as English dictionary. English dictionary is a collection of words and their definitions. So you have seen that in English dictionary you will get the word and we get the definition also in the different language. So same way in UiPath, dictionary is a collection of keys and values, where key is like word. If we'll compare with the dictionary, this English dictionary with the dictionary in UiPath, you can understand dictionary is a collection of keys and values, where key is like word and value is like definition. Let's suppose in the English dictionary our key is apple and the definition is it is a fruit. So the same way we have the key and value in dictionary in UiPath. So every dictionary has pairs of keys and values. You can see here like dictionary T key and T value. The dictionary T key T value is a class of system.collections.generic namespace. So the dictionary which we are using, it's a class of system.collection.generic namespace. It can store any data types in a form of keys and values. It provides a mapping from a set of keys to a set of values. You can see here right side, here the keys and here the values. Like we have the apple, so value will be it is a fruit. We have the elephant, so value will be it is an animal. Here is the keys, it means today's date, then here is the value. Here the keys 1, then here is the value. Now system collections.generic namespace can be imported in UiPath Studio. So if you have learned .NET, so in .NET like in C#, we will have to import the namespace, this namespace, by using keyword, like using system.collections.generic. So here in UiPath we have the feature, we can go to the import and we can type this and then we can select that. So that will be imported in our UiPath Studio. So I'm going to tell you about the detail about the system collection generic dictionary, what is the T key and what is the T value. So here you can see system.collections.generic, this is a namespace and the dictionary is a class as per .NET. System.collections.generic is a namespace and the dictionary is a class. T key and T value is a parameters which we pass with the dictionary class. Now we'll discuss about the parameters, this T key and T value. What is this T key and T value and what is the full form of this? So T key, it's a type of key. So the type of keys in the dictionary is called T key. So same as T value, it means the type of the values in the dictionary is called T value. Now for example, dictionary will be string and dictionary key will be string and value will be string. It can be a string or it can be anything also. Same as other you can the key will be string and the value will be integer. We have another we can take key as a string and value as a object also. We can take key as an integer and value as a string also. We can take key as a string and value as a boolean also. So we have the lots of data type we can use here in the dictionary. Same as this, here in the keys we have the string here and right side we have a string, integer and date also. Now how to create dictionary? So we'll see here how to create dictionary. So for that, create a variable of dictionary with the variable type dictionary string object or iDictionary string object. So here I have written string and object. It means our key will be string data type, string type, and our value will be object type. So object type means we can put here, we can take any types of value here. So that's why I have taken here object, or you can take here, if you have the data in string format, string, then you can take here string. So here if you are going to create the variable of dictionary, then either you can select dictionary or you can select I dictionary also. I will tell you about this I dictionary later. So we need to create like this, the name will be dictionary and the variable type will be like this, dictionary string object. We must initialize the dictionary equal to new dictionary of string comma object. Like if you want to take the key as a string, then you can put here new dictionary of string, or if you want to take as an integer, then you can write here new dictionary of integer comma object, like this. We can assign like this. Let me show you in UiPath Studio. Here, before I start working on this, first let me take one flowchart, and either we can take a assign activity to assign this expression, this dictionary, new dictionary of string comma object to the variable. So either we can take a assign activity and we can create a variable here and pass that expression here, or we can directly, first let me show you here, either we can press Ctrl T K and then we can write here dictionary or anything like my dictionary or dict, anything. So here, and now here we need to pass new dictionary of. So here we need to take new dictionary of. So once we mouse hover on this, we are getting right side class system.collections.generic dictionary of t key comma t value. It means this is the part of system.generic collection.generic. So we'll have to write here dictionary of. So here we need to take of. Then what type will be our keys? So if we need to pass string, then we'll write here string comma our value type. So we'll take here string. So our both t key and t value both will be string. You can keep here anything. Now we need to go to the variable, and here this dictionary will be, as I shown you here, this should be either dictionary or I dictionary. So for that we'll have to go to the variable type, and here we can go to the browse for type, and we can write here dictionary. So if we'll go here in dictionary, so dictionary class is a part of system.collections.generic. So we'll have to go here system.collections.generic and we can select this. So once we'll select this, click on this, then we get option here to select the type of key. So our type of key is string and type of value will be string. Here you can see dictionary, type of key and type of value, and then press OK here. Now we have dictionary created here. We have assigned this expression to our dictionary variable. It means we have created the dictionary with empty elements or empty items. Now we need to put the items here, value in the dictionary. Let me show you here next what is I dictionary. As you already discussed here, we can create the variable, as I already shown you here. We can create a variable type as a dictionary, or we can take as a I dictionary. So now I am going to show you what is I dictionary. So I dictionary is the base interface for generic collection of keys value pairs. We can create a variable, we can create a dictionary and access it through the I dictionary interface. So you can understand I dictionary is the interface. We can create like this. We can create the dictionary variable and variable type will be I dictionary. We must initialize the dictionary same as the dictionary class for this interface also. So we have to just go to variable type and we can change from here. We can go to the browser types, and we just have to use iDictionary system.collections.generic iDictionary type key. Same as that, we can select this string and string. Now press OK. Now we have the variable type iDictionary. Now let me show you how to add items to dictionary. How can, if we now we have the dictionary created here, now how can we add the items to dictionary? So let me show you here. Install Microsoft activities.extension from the manage package to use dictionary activities. So if you have not installed this package in your UiPath Studio, then you will not be getting dictionary activities. Like, let me show you here. Let me search for the dictionary activity. So I am not getting any dictionary activities here because I have not installed this package Microsoft.activities.extension. So let me first click here on the manage packages and then go to the all packages, and here in the search box we need to write Microsoft dot activities dot extension. So we need to take this one to use the dictionary activities. Now click install and then save this. So once it will reload all this dependency, it will add this, and then we'll able to use the dictionary activities. All these dictionary activities we can use here. So now you can see here we have the all these activities available here. Add to dictionary, clear dictionary, all these things. This is under Microsoft activities extension statement. Now drag and drop the add to dictionary activity to the UiPath Studio. Once you drop the activity, it will show one pop-up to select types of key and values. So it means if you want to add the items to the this dictionary, then first we'll have to take one activity that is add to dictionary. So we'll just drag and drop here. So once you drag and drop here, it will ask to select the type. It means what will be the type. So our type will be string and the value will be also a string. So let me press OK. Now which type of items you want to add to the dictionary? So this is our just basic example. I'm just going to show you. Let's suppose I have a URL and that will be in double quotation. This is a string, that's why, and here our value will be www.google.com. So this is our value, and once you double click on this, we will get the option of the dictionary. So we'll have to use the existing dictionary that we have created. So here you can right side see dictionary as a iDictionary. So this dictionary as is a interface we are using this. So either you can double click on this and you can take the dictionary, or you can go to the right side in properties and you can write the created dictionary variable here. Now once we click on run, this value or this key value will be added to the dictionary variable. It means to the dictionary. Now if you want to check that this value has been added to the dictionary or not, we can just take one message box and we just need to use the dictionary, and then in the double quotation we just have to use the key name. So it's easy to fetch the value based on the key. So if you have the key, we can just check this, get the data, get the value. Let me run this. So once we'll run this, so we'll get this URL. Let me run this. So you have seen here we have got the www.google.com. So this is our value. So now we have added the keys and values to the dictionary. You can see here like this. So we need to take care of one more thing, that if we have created a dictionary of type of key string and the type of value is a string, then you can just pass only the data in string key and string value. You cannot add any other data types of data into this dictionary. If you want to add any other types of data, other types of value, then you have to create another dictionary and you can put the another name and then you can add those value in that. So here we can just add string keys and string data type, string type, same as SQL database. If you have specified like this, for this name the data type will be varchar integer like number, then we can just add the data of that data type, same as here. So this dictionary we can understand like a data table or data table. Now if we need to create another, we need to add more data to the dictionary, then we can take another add to dictionary activity and we can drag and drop here and select this. The type key will be always this because we have assigned the new dictionary of string. Now press OK, then let's connect this again. Now I'm going to take this a key will be, let's suppose application name is SAP. So we need to pass the existing dictionary name so that it will add these key values to the dictionary. Now this is added. Now let me run this, and first time we have added the URL. Now I am just going to check the this application is added to or not. We run this. So now we have added this key values to the dictionary. So we have got the value of the key, that is SAP. This is same as a dictionary. We can write here like this. This is for apple. So apple, this is it's a fruit, same as that. Now let me show you here how to clear the dictionary. The second activity we are going to use for this, how to clear the dictionary. This activity will be used. So drag and drop the clear dictionary activity to UiPath Studio. Once you drop the activity, it will show one pop-up to select types of key and value. So here also it will ask to select the type of key and type of values like this, and then choose the type of key and value as per requirement and press OK. Enter the name of dictionary to clear all the items from the dictionary like this, and then we can clear the dictionary. So let's see the example how to clear the dictionary. Let's suppose we have created this this dictionary and we have added this key value to that dictionary. Now the we have to clear the dictionary. It means we have to delete all these records from the dictionary. Then we just let me take one thing, that clear dictionary. So what will do, it will ask for the value, the type of key and type of value. So let me take this. So it means it is asking that which type of key and which type of value is exist in your dictionary. So press OK. Now it is asking what is the dictionary. So our dictionary name is dictionary, this one. So what will happen, once we will run this, our dictionary will be cleared. It means all the records will be removed from this dictionary. Now let me take one message box so that I can show you is there data available in this dictionary or not. I am just taking this dictionary and I am just taking this application. So it will check if it is there. If dictionary is not clear, then it will show here this SAP. If it is clear, then we'll get the error. So here you can see we are getting this, the given key was not present in dictionary. It means this key has been removed. It means all these records has been deleted from the dictionary. right? So there is no use of this. The dictionary has been cleared. So if you don't want to use at the end of the project, then at last you can use the clear dictionary to clear all the records from the dictionary. Now the next one is how to get the value from the dictionary. So this is the activity we are going to use to get the value from the dictionary. We'll drag and drop the get from dictionary activity to UiPath Studio to get the value of the given key from dictionary. Once you drag and drop the activity, it will show one pop-up to select type of keys and values, same as the previous, and then we have to choose the type of key and type of value like string and string and press OK like this, and then enter the name of the dictionary and key and variable in value. So here we need to pass the dictionary name and the key for which we need to get the value, and then the value will be a one variable. Let me show you one practical example here. Now let me remove this, and I'm going to take that activity. This one is get from dictionary to get the value from the dictionary. So I'm going to connect this here, and the type will be string, the value will be a string. Press OK, and then here we need to pass the dictionary. The key will be let's suppose I need to get the value of key URL. So I'm going to pass here in double quotation URL, and then here in the value I need to get the value of this key URL. So I'm just going to create a variable, and that is called dict value, and with the use of this variable, I need to just use this created variable to get the value. Let me take one message box. I think we have the message box here in the background. Let me delete this, and now select this, and here I need to just pass that dict value. So here in this variable, we will get the value of this key URL, and let me run this. So here you have seen we are getting google.com. It means here the value of this URL is google.com. So with the use of this get from dictionary activity, we can get the value of a specific key. So anytime if we require to get the value of any key, then we can just pass the key there, and we can create a variable, and we can use that variable anywhere to get the value of the key. Now the next is how to check an existing key in dictionary. If we have already created a dictionary and we have added the key and value to dictionary, then how can we check that this is already exist in dictionary or not? So for that we have to use this activity to check whether a specified key exists in dictionary or not. So we'll drag and drop the key exists in dictionary activity. So this is the activity we need to use to check for existing key in UiPath Studio. Once you drop the activity, it will show one pop-up to select the type of key and type of value, same as previous activities like this, and we need to enter the name and the variable. And then let's see the practical example here. Let's suppose we have already created here, but you don't know that we have already added this key URL in the dictionary or not. So for that I am just going to take this activity to check the existing key in dictionary. So we'll take this key exist in dictionary, and we'll select the key type, and this will be string, and press OK. So our key will be, I'm going to just check that the URL is already available in dictionary or not, and I'm just going to take the result. So this will show as a true or false. So I'm putting here control K, and then key exist, the variable will be this, and this will be boolean. Let me select the dictionary variable, and here I am just using this key exist boolean variable, so it will show true or false. If the key is already available in dictionary, then it will show true, and not, then it will show here false. So let me run this. So we know here we have the URL key already available in the dictionary, so we'll get here true. We are getting true here. Let me change the key of this. I'm just putting here URL login, and then let's run this. So here you can see we will get false, because this key is not available in dictionary. So we can use here the condition, like if the key exists equal to false, it means this is not available in the dictionary. Then we can take one add to dictionary, and then we can add that key values to the dictionary, right? Now the next is how to remove elements from dictionary. Use this activity to remove an item with the specified key from a dictionary. Drag and drop the remove from dictionary activity to UiPath Studio. So this is the activity used in dictionary to remove the elements from the dictionary. So this is same as that. We have to just drag and drop this, and it will ask for the select type of key and type of value. So every time it will ask for this. So let me show you for remove from dictionary. So here I am going to take this. Let me use the same thing. If this URL exists, so we'll take one if condition, or we can take a flow decision. And then if key exists equal to true. If it is true, then what we need to do, we need to remove the elements like this key from the dictionary. So I'm going to take this here in the left side. We'll take one sequence, or we can take directly remove from. If it is true, then we need to take the remove from dictionary. So we'll drag and drop here, and the type of key will be string, and type of value will be a string. Press OK here, and then we have already drag and drop here, connected here. Now the key will be, we need to remove this key, that URL, and the result will be like deleted something. I'm just taking this variable as a result, and then here in the right side we will take the variable, like from which dictionary we need to remove this key. If it will not pass here, so it will throw an error. So here it will have to specify from which dictionary. If you have multiple dictionary, then we will have to specify also, and false will not take anything. So let me run this. So it will check first. If it is, it means it has been deleted. Now we can check from the output started, and let me take one message box here, so that I can show you here then this is deleted or not. Connect here. So I'm just going to pass here that this deleted variable, and this is boolean variable. So what will happen, this will show, if it is deleted, then it will show a message like true, If it is not deleted, then it will show as false. So we are getting here true, it means this has been deleted. So once if will now I am going to take one message box again, and I will connect here, and then I am going to use this key variable to check that this is available here or not. And let me run this. So here we have taken this remove from dictionary activity to remove that. So it has been removed, we are getting true, it means it has been removed. And now we are taking message box to see the see the value of that URL key. So it will show error. So you can see here we are getting error like the given key was not present in the dictionary, because this has been deleted using this activity, this remove from dictionary. So that's why here we are not getting the value of this URL key. Now how to check for an existing value in dictionary? So we need to use this activity to check whether a specified value exists in dictionary or not. So drag and drop the value, drag and drop the activity, this value exists in dictionary activity to UiPath Studio, and then we need to again do the same thing. So value exists in dictionary, we need to check this. So let me delete all these things and take value exist. So again we need to take the same thing, the string, and the type will be string. And here we need to take the value, let me check here, the dictionary will be dictionary and the value. Here it means we need to check the value exists in dictionary or not. So let's suppose the value will be google.com. So we need to check that we have added this value in the dictionary or not. So let's suppose we have the SAP value here. We have already one value SAP in the application key. So I am just taking this, I am going to find this available in the SAP value here or not. So in the result here I am just going to take one variable, and this will be boolean type, control K, and the value exists, and then I am going to take one message box, so it will show true or false. So if this is available here in the dictionary, then it will show true. If it is not, then it will show false. So let me take this variable value exists, and let me run this. So we know that this value is already available in the dictionary, so we'll get the true. Now we'll change the, so here we are getting true. Now I am going to change the value SAP1, and then let's run this, and let's see this is available in a dictionary or not. So we are getting false, it means this is not available in the dictionary, so this value is not available. So we have the lots of activities we can use that to manage our dictionary. Now we'll see how to loop through a dictionary in UiPath. We'll see if you want to loop through dictionary to access each key value pair, use the for each activity. If you want to loop through dictionary to access each key value pair, then use the for each activity. Create a dictionary and add items to it. Take a for each activity which will iterate over each item key and value in the dictionary, and display the key value pair using message box activity. So let me use this. I am going to take this, remove this, and I am going to take one for each, because we have already created the dictionary, we have already added the items to the dictionary. So just we need to use the for each activity. So we'll take this one, not this, because this is for data table and this is for dictionary and collection or list. Connect this, and here we just need to pass the dictionary, and here in the message box we just have to take message box, and here we can just use item. So what will happen, it will loop through each key and value in the dictionary. It will show here in the pair. So we'll get here the option like URL, and the value is google.com. second, application, that is our key, and the value is SAP. So by this way we can loop through dictionary and we can get the data. Now the last one is, that is points to remember. So these are the points I am going to show you that we need to remember while creating and working on dictionary. So first is, install the Microsoft.activities.extension from manage package to use the dictionary activities. I have already shown you that if you don't have this package installed in UiPath Studio, then we cannot use all this activity. So first we need to install this. Second, dictionary is case sensitive, so before adding the key to dictionary, convert them to either lower or uppercase. So I am going to show you this one also. So let's suppose we have, I am going to delete this, and here we have created a application. This is like A is in uppercase. So I am going to take one message box, and here I am going to take this dictionary, and in the open close bracket I am going to just take like this application. I am not putting here A in caps in uppercase, and run this. So here you can see we will get the error, because as it is showing the given key was not present in the dictionary. Why? Because the dictionary is case sensitive. So before adding the key to the dictionary, convert them to either lower or uppercase. Otherwise you have to write the same as the key which is we have already added to the dictionary. Dictionary cannot include duplicate or null values, null keys, whereas value can be duplicated or set as null. So in the dictionary we cannot include the duplicate or null keys. Let me show you. If you are going to add to the dictionary same keys like the application is already created, so we will not able to add, we will get the error. Let me take one add to dictionary. I am going to take another activity. This is for same thing, and this will be string, and take another. Let me remove this. And let me connect this here, and then connect this with the message box. So this example is for only checking the dictionary cannot include duplicate or null keys, whereas value can be duplicated or set as null. So here I am just going to take one key that is duplicate, that is application, or I am going to take as a URL. So we have already added this key URL in the dictionary, and now I am going to add this URL that duplicate again in the dictionary, and here I am going to take only YouTube something, and in the same dictionary I am going to add and now let's run this. So here we'll see we'll get the error because dictionary cannot include duplicate. We are getting error here, and item with the same key has already been added. It means this key has already been added. Now if we are going to change this, that is URL1, and we are passing here google.com, that is same as the previous this one. I am going to copy this and paste this. So as I told you here in the points to remember, that whereas value can be duplicated or set as null, so we can pass here null value also, or we can pass the same thing as that. So let me run this. So here showing the given key was not present in the dictionary. Let me select this, and this was the error because we need to just change, and let me write here URL1 and run this. So this has been added. Now we are getting google.com because we have added this key and value to the dictionary. Now a dictionary stores key values pair where the key must be unique. That I already told you, like dictionary cannot include duplicate keys. So this is same, this must be unique. And the last, before adding a key value pair into dictionary, check that the key does not exist using key exists in dictionary activity. So as I already told you previous, that before adding the keys to the dictionary, use the key exists in dictionary activity to check the key exists in dictionary or not, and then add that. So if it is already exists, then it will not be added. Otherwise if you will directly add that, and if that key is already available in the dictionary, then you will get the runtime exception. Today we are going to learn about how to add config file data to dictionary. So we'll learn how to add config file data to dictionary and how to access it anywhere in the project, and what is the use of string.isNull or empty method. So we are going to use this method in dictionary. So we'll learn what is the use of this and how to use this. So let's see practically. Let me open UiPath Studio. So here first I need to read the config file and store into the dictionary. So first we need the config file. So as I already told about how to create config file in my previous video, so I have already created one config file here. The seat first is master, second is SAP, and third is for asset. We need to read all this data from the master, SAP and assets and write to the dictionary. So first I will show you how to read only one seat data and write to dictionary, and then again after that I will show you how to read all this seats data and write to dictionary. Let me take one sequence so that I can show you how to initialize this value, this settings. So I am going to change the name of init and double click that, and now here we first we need the location of, like the path of config file. We can directly create a variable here, the config file, and pass the value like here. Let me show you here, like config file. So here we can directly pass the path of the config file. So we have the path here config.xls. This is not under any folder. We can just pass the config.xlsx here in the double quotation, because this is under the project folder, so there is no need to pass the whole path. Or the second method, you can take one assign activity. This is the same. We need to use this config file variable, and then here we need to pass the config.xlsx. So this is same. If here we'll take this, then the user or we will be able to see that yes, we have taken one seat variable for this file name, and if we are not taking here, then this will be not visible to the user directly. Once we'll click on variable, then we'll able to see like this is the path of, or this is the variable used for config file. So it's up to you. You can use this, or you can directly take one assigned variable also. The next thing, after taking the config file location, we need to take the seat name here. We need to first read this master seat data, then we need the seat name. because at the time of using seat name in read range activity, we need to pass that seat name. So here either the same thing, either you can write here the config seat name and you can pass here the seat name like in double quotation master, or you can take a variable, you can take a assign activity and then you can pass there to the value. So again I'm just showing you here config seat name, and that is master. And now we have the file location, we have the seat name. Now we need to, before working on, as I already told in my previous dictionary tutorial video, that before working on dictionary we must initialize the dictionary. We need to create a dictionary variable. So let me take one assign activity, and here press Ctrl K to create one variable, and then right here let's suppose we are going to take a out underscore config. So this means we are going to use this config file and we are going to send this config file outside to the workflow. So this is up to you. You can take out underscore config file variable or anything. You can just take a dictionary also. So this is for config files, that's why I'm going to take config out underscore config. And now here we need to pass the new dictionary. So once we'll click the press Ctrl space, it will show the list of methods and properties here. So here it's showing dictionary of, so we need to take here of. It means we are going to create a new dictionary of string type of key and object type of value. So we are going to take a string here because we are going to pass key as a string, and in the object it can accept any type of data. So that's why we will take here object, so that we can pass a string, boolean, date, time, date or integer. Now here we need to see the out config variable, and then we have to change the variable to dictionary because we are going to create the dictionary variable. So we need to take this one system.collections.generic. So better understanding of this you can go through my previous video. I have told you all these things. We need to take as a type of key as a string and type of value as a object. Now press OK. So now we have the out config dictionary. Now we need to read the data from the Excel file and write to the dictionary. So first we'll take read range activity. So we have the two options. Either we can take this read range activity, or if we'll take this read range, then we have to take Excel application scope to use this. So we'll directly take this read range under the workbook and then go here. We have the path. So we have the variable name for the config file, that is config, and now for the seat name we have the variable again. Let me show you. This is the variable of the config file. We have the location of that, and now we have the seat name, config seat name, so we can directly use that variable config seat name. Now here we need to pass the range. So if we have lots of data in this seat, or we are going to add multiple data here at the end also, so no need to pass range. We can directly remove this, keep blank, and then take this data in a data table, Control K, and then config dt. So this is for data table. Now we need to read the data from the config dt. It means from the data table, because we have stored all this data from the Excel file to data table, and now we need to read all this data from the data table to dictionary. So first we'll take one for each row here, and then we need to write here config dt. So it will iterate one by one row in config dt, and then here we need to directly take one add to dictionary. One more thing I'm going to tell you about that this add to dictionary, as I already told you in my previous video, that you have to install the package Microsoft.activities.extensions. Here I have already Microsoft activities.extensions. So this package should be installed, must be installed in your project as a dependencies, then you can use that. So we'll take one add to dictionary. So we have the two options. Either we can take the add to dictionary and we can select the type of key and type of value, same as that we have defined here. And now here dictionary will be out underscore config. The key will be, now we have the key name in the row because we have read all this sheet data into the data table. So now we have all this data in row. So we'll take row and then open bracket, close bracket, in double quotation we have the name and then toString, and here we need to pass the value. So we have the value, you can see here we have the value also in the data table. So we'll take as a double quotation value. So by this way also we can create a dictionary, we can add the data to the dictionary. So one by one it will read all this value from the data dictionary and then it will write to the dictionary here. Now the next thing, we need to check that this is added or not. So we'll take one message box to just check this has been added to the dictionary or not. So let me check for this body message. So here we'll take the dictionary name, that is out underscore config. So here it is not showing because we need to change the scope. So for that click variable, go to the scope from init to flowchart and then go to the flowchart, take the dictionary name in the double quotation, pass the key name. Now we have the key name body message, and now run this so that we can check we have read the data from the Excel sheet and written to dictionary or not. So if we'll get this value data, hi UiPath RPA, see here it's showing the config file is used by or cannot access because it is used by another process. So let me just close this and let me copy this one again so that I can show you next time the folder path. So let me close this and now run this again. So here we have got the data from the value. Now again I'm going to show you another things, that is for the folder path, and let's run again. We are getting the data from the dictionary or not. See, and documents. So now we have got that how to read the data from the Excel file and write to the dictionary. Now the next thing, we need to see what is string dot is null or empty. So let me show you here. We need to use that method inside this for each row in the body part. Why? Because before adding the dictionary, adding the data to dictionary, it is required to check before adding data to dictionary, because dictionary cannot include null or empty keys. As I already told you in my previous video that we cannot add blank or like empty keys to the dictionary. So we need to first check that whatever we are passing here that has the value. So we'll write here string dot, we have the method that is null or empty. So this is null or empty, we need to pass the column name of that as a string. So we have the column name in the row and then again open close bracket. Now here we need to pass the key name, that is name dot toString. You will be thinking that what is the use of this is null or empty. Might be if you're going for the interview and then the interviewer is asking for this, then you can say this method is used for checking whether a given string is null or empty. It returns a boolean value, either true or false. So string is null or empty means it has no data or the length equal to 0, or it is in the double quotation. So it is required to check before adding data to dictionary, because dictionary cannot include null or empty keys. So now we've got that what is the use of string dot is null or empty. So this is just for checking whether a given string is null or empty. So let's suppose we are going to add this row name and row value to the dictionary. So we need to check before adding to the dictionary that we have the data in the name column or not. So here we are just checking in the name, because in the value we can pass blank also and we can pass anything or duplicate also. So now we can add here in the else part, because it will check first a string is the name is null or not. So we don't have any null in the data in the sheet, then it will go to the false. If we have, then it will go to the true. So we know that we don't have any blank, then it will go to the else part. So it will add here. And now if you think about the not string dot null, it means if you don't have empty row or null row, then it will go to the true. So we'll go to the, we can add here in the true section. So if you don't have any null value or empty name, then we can use this add to dictionary. Or you can, instead of taking this add to dictionary activity, you can take one assign activity, or this is just replacement of this. If you don't want to use, like, let me control D, if you don't want to use this, then you can use this one. So this will be out config bracket row and then in double quotation name, and then here we have to string. So by this way we can, in the to section we can take a name, and in the value we can take a double quotation value. So by this way also we can pass the value to the key. It will work same as that. Now let me run this. I can show you it's working fine with the assign activity or not. So this is working fine, we are getting the data. So now we have the two things. We got that how to pass the sheet name. We can directly pass here in the default value, or we can take assign activity. For the config sheet also we can pass here, or we can take a variable, or here also we got that we can take a add to dictionary activity, or we can take a assign activity and we can pass like this out underscore config row in the double quotation name and the dot to string, and then we can pass this value as a row value. So by this way we can add to the dictionary. Now how to add multiple sheet data to the dictionary and how to access dictionary in the another workflow in project. So go to the init here, and now here in the variable we are taking one sheet name. Now we have the collection of sheet, like we have 3 sheets. So we need to write this in underscore like this in master, and then double quotation sap, and then again comma, and then again double quotation, that is for assets, close the bracket. Now we have the 3 sheets. So this is the collection of, then we need to change from a string to array of a string, because we have the array of data here in the three sheets. Now we need to read the data from the multiple sheets. So here instead of taking this one, we need to remove this. And here before using this for each, we need to take one for each activity, and we'll take this activity to use data from multiple seat. So here we'll just change the name of seat for this seat in the seat name is in the this variable config seat name. So we'll write config seat name, and now we can take this all into the into the body part. So one by one it will read the seat name and then it will read the data. So now we need to take the read range activity, this one, and we'll pass here, and the path will be config file, and the seat will be, now this time every time the seat will be changed, because first time master, then SAP, then assets. So that's why we have the loop. This is seat name, so we'll just take as a seat. So whenever it will change, it will take a seat, and then again it will, next time it will add here as a SAP, and then again it will show as assets, like this. Now remove this, and now take the data table as a config that we have already created, config dt. And we are still getting a validation message, so for that click here in the for each and then from object to string. Now we are not getting any validation message. So what will happen, first time we have created the dictionary, and then it will read the, it will iterate the seat, like it will read the seat name from the config seat variable. This is array of a string from here. So first time it will get the master seat, so it will read here, the master will be here, then it will store into the data table, and then here it will read the data table and it will write here. So by this way we can read the data from multiple seats and we can use that. So here now I am going to just use the data from the SAP seat, so that I can show you it is reading the whole data from the all these seats. So now let me take this delay sort. So here I am just going to change the folder path. So first I am running with the same thing. Let me check that this is running from, this is taking the data from the master seat or not. Let me run this. First let me close this seat. Right, so we have got the data. Now I am going to change this folder path, and then I am passing the key name of the SAP seat, and let's see we are getting the data from that seat or not. So here it's showing 1000, it means we are getting the data from the SAP seat also. So by this way we can read multiple seat data and we can write to the dictionary. Now the next thing, we need to learn how to access dictionary in the another workflow in the project. So currently what's happening, we are just using this dictionary only in this workflow, but now if we want to use this key value inside the project in another workflow, let's suppose we have another workflow and we need to use that value, that config dictionary value in the another workflow, then how can we do? So for that you have already learnt about the invoke workflow file and the UiPath arguments, then you can understand this easily. First watch that video, I have already created that. I will put that video link in the description, you can go through that. So now I am going to tell you how to use this data in another workflow. So what we'll do, we'll just take this init as another, extract as another workflow. So right click and extract as a workflow. So here showing the init name, so yes, we are ready to take this name as a init. So what will happen, it will create another workflow name, and then it will take one invoke init workflow. So here in the init workflow, now we have this, all these things added here. The next thing, we need to take the variable in the arguments as a out argument type. So here you can see now our argument name is that is out config, and the direction will be out. So either you can take the direction is in out, so that so that we can use this inside this workflow also and outside the workflow also. So what will happen in the main, now we have this variable. So let me import argument as a this argument, and we have taken this value. So the UiPath Studio has taken already this variable as a this value as a variable. If you will see here in the variable, this has been created as a dictionary, as a out config variable. And now here we can take a message box and we can use this here. So let me show in the both location. If you want to use this here also, then we can take one message box, and I can show you how to use that here also. So now we have the config variable out underscore config. In the double quotation we have the URL, and then if we'll run this one, this init only, then we also get the data from the variable, because we have that, and we have taken this as argument in out direction, because this way we can read the data from the dictionary in this workflow and outside this workflow also. So first let me show you by running this workflow, right? So by this way we can read the data from the config file from the dictionary. And now I'm going to run this main workflow so that I can show you how to get the data from this dictionary, because we have created the dictionary here, and now I'm going to read the data from there. And let me run this only main workflow. So now we are getting the data. We are getting two data because we have already taken in the invoke init workflow. So we have used this message box. If you are going to delete this, then here while running this main workflow we'll get only one message box for this. Today we learned how to read the data from the Excel file and write to the dictionary, and how to read the data from the multiple sheets and write to the dictionary, and how to access dictionary key values inside the project anywhere. So thank you so much friends, thank you for watching this video. If you have any question, please comment in my video, or any suggestion you can also put there. You can send me on mail. If you have not subscribed my channel, then please subscribe, and please press like button. Thank you so much friends.